Now that I've had a lot of time to play in the Grim Forest, I want to share with you some of what I've learned. Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Today I really wanted to kind of start taking a dive into Grim Forest and discussing ways that you can find success. Now, I want to point out a few things about the limitations. I'm on my free-to-play today. My main account pretty much breezed through the content, and that was on the back of a champion called Senna. Most of you probably know of her. Obviously, I don't have her on this account, but she is an extremely good support. Basically just turn meter. It's insane. And I was basically able to brute force anything as long as I had Senna. But that doesn't really help a lot of players because the tip can't be, oh, just go pull Senna and you'll be fine, right? There are going to be challenges for other players who don't have Senna or even the equivalent support. This account is a great example of how to kind of move forward when you don't have a very good support champion. I don't have one. This is what I have as support champions go. You'll notice I don't really have, with the exception of Mithrala, I don't really have like a big cleanser type support champion. And I really don't have a lot of healing in here as well. I did recently get Hilvi, but Hilvi wasn't used at the time, as you can see, Hilvi has not been used yet. And there's Artor, but I don't think Artor really, he gives some turn meter, but he doesn't really give me a lot of what I need. There may be an epic that I'm sleeping on, but for purposes of this, I just wanted to share with you what my roster really looks like. I'd say my best support is probably Loriaka, who I just 6-starred during the most recent champion training, so I can get a block debuffs. But we're going to talk about that later because today we're going to focus on the Mimic. The Mimic can be very, very challenging for a lot of players. And I kind of wanted to help you better understand how to approach the Mimic and show you that despite my roster limitations, you'll see many, that's normal, let's go to hard, we'll see many different Mimics that have been defeated. Listen up, I just got a new promo link that you can use to follow along with me on my latest free-to-play adventure and get a free Elenaril as well as 3 more powerful epics as you level up. Here's how to do it. Log out of Plarium Play and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get Elenaril right after signing up, as well as Fayne, Uugo, and Tagoar as you progress through Raid. Click on my link right now and let's crush this together. Right? We've got one there, got another one here, right? I have been able, despite my roster limitations, I have been able to defeat a lot of Mimics. Even the level 325 Mimic, I was able to beat. And if you've been paying attention while I've been clicking through them, you'll see one common thread, and that's Venomage. Now, I already made an entire video talking about Venomage specifically, but I kind of wanted to point out other strategies for beating the Mimic. It's not fun to do, but I basically have had to re-roll. I keep the Mimics available and then I do everything and then I go back towards the end of my energy and I re-roll to get Venomage in those Mimic difficulties so that I can beat it. If you don't have a heal reduction champion and you have a way to give yourself a ton of turn meter and you're very fast, you can beat it. That's how I did it with Senna. I basically didn't bring any heal reduction and I just outsped. I did more damage than the healing of the Mimic by generating a ton of turn meter. So there are alternative ways, but again, for the purposes of this free-to-play account, relatively new account. I mean, it's a 2-year-old account, but it's not, I didn't play it for like a whole 6 to 8 months for a period of time. And so, it has a lot of drawbacks on it right now. And you can see hard is a challenge. I'm a lot less far in hard than I am on the main account. So I wanted to talk about the Mimic and we'll kind of look at a breakdown here. So basic strategy here is I'm bringing a speed aura. For a lot of you, the fastest aura, 24%, is going to be from Lamasu. If you have her, relatively easy to get because it's through Siege. Obviously, if you're in a clan where you're losing a lot of sieges, you might not have her yet. That's unfortunate, but for the most part, my free-to-play got it very quickly, and I'm in a clan that competes at tier 6 level in Siege, so I'm able to get her pretty easily. You could just see here, we're competing at tier 6, and we did just win pretty handedly our most recent Siege as well. So that's a really good option, but any other speed aura will be good for you to use. I have a few different ones on my account. Let me find another. Here we go. Oh, see, this one I even brute forced it, but that's a weaker level. That's 225. We can go to one of the higher level ones. 325. Okay, so I'm bringing in that speed aura, and you can see here I'm bringing Venomage. That's really what you really want to have those. You are going to need some healing as well, and you need to keep in mind that one champion is going to be devoured by the Mimic. So that one is called Feeding Time. It summons a mini Mimic, and it targets the highest crit damage for 4 turns. You can manipulate this, and I think it's important to understand that. If you have a champion that just has really high crit damage but isn't useful to you, or you could put a lot of crit damage on a champion and make them the target. Now, it's tricky because you're looking to get Venomage in the fight, and that target, it's going to be difficult. So ultimately, I just kind of bring enough damage dealers and kind of finagle my way around it. It's been easier if I'm able to bring, well, you're always going to be able to bring 2 damage dealers, and you will do a lot of damage with Venomage as well. So in this particular case, I would run it, and I'm using Uugo as a healer for myself and Venomage for damage. And between the 2 champions there, we have crit damage of 318 versus crit damage of 251. So I know that my Thor is going to be devoured, but Rathalos can smack, right? And we all know that. And so I just need to make sure I'm optimizing and trying to keep Thor up. Now, again, this is a 325 level fight. I'm not going to do the whole fight because it will be tedious and time consuming, and that's something that you need to be prepared to do if you don't have the capabilities to really power through it quickly. And we're going to place that heal reduction. That gets eaten. So then the way that the boss heals is that at the start of the Mimic's turn, if there's a mini Mimic present, it heals for 25% of their HP. We're just blocking that healing. It's very simple strategy. We block that healing. One thing I recommend, if you can bring Lamasude, you can't always do that because of the way the deck rolls out, right? If you can bring Lamasude, save the cooldown reduction here for Venomage in case this gets resisted, in case it falls off earlier than you're expecting it to. It's really valuable to keep track of that. You also might want to consider saving Uugo's heal if you can, and you're basically just doing all the damage that you can to the boss. Don't try to break the chest. You're not going to be able to do it, at least not if you're competing at my level. And we're just trying to do what we can. And obviously, we have a weak affinity. That's less than ideal. But even in that case, this is still going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and heal and cleanse there. Just top us off. So notice that the heal reduction fell off. We'll go ahead and speed up Venomage. Venomage probably was going to have the ability back anyways, but that was more also getting the turn meter, just to guarantee that it stays up. And even though we're getting terrible hits, by the way, I don't think Rathalos even is crit capped right now, to be honest with you. Because he didn't weak. I don't think that was a weak hit. I think that was just a hit. Okay, there we go. There's a nice big strong hit. So he is built. And it's just a repetition of this, right? So we do get Thor back for a little bit of time here. You want to make sure that, if possible, you try and heal Thor up while he is out. The reason being he's about to get eaten again, and they can die if they get eaten too much. So keeping them healed up is very important. The heal reduction only has 1 stack left, so we'll go ahead and put that back on the boss. We'll get a big chunk of damage in from Thor and just rinse and repeat. But you guys can kind of see how it's working. Like I said, this has been 3 minutes of explaining it already. I don't really want to continue the fight. I've already beaten it. But yeah, you might be sitting there for about 10 minutes of playtime if you have somebody that doesn't hit quite so hard as that backup damage dealer, but you want to make sure that you are bringing at least 2 hard-hitting damage dealers just to speed up that fight. Okay, so another thing to keep in mind, you have Fortune's Feast here. For every 3 buffs the enemy team receives, decreases the cooldown of Feeding Time skill by 1 turn. So Feeding Time, this is the mini mimic, right? If possible, try to limit the buffs that you're putting on your team. That's one of the real big benefits here of bringing Uugo. Uugo's a great healer and it brings a lot of debuffs, but doesn't bring a lot of any buffs for your team unless everyone dies. Obviously, Lammasu, again, brings a small amount of buffs, but really, I'm not gaining a lot of buffs in this particular fight, reducing that feeding time. So I get a little bit more time with Thor being out of the Mimic and more time to get damage in before getting sucked back into the little treasure chest. It is an important part of the strategy. So if it's something you can do, great. Like, for example, if you're forced into bringing a champion like Mithrala, well, that's a lot of buffs that you're going to be pulling out there. So you're not going to have a lot of time with the champions when they're outside of being devoured. If you can get away with it, if your deck roll is beneficial to you in that way, that is something that you could potentially consider doing. So just keep that in mind. It's a small little tip. It's not a must do, but it will make things a little bit easier on you if you can get away with it. You saw Thor came out with a ton of HP. I was able to heal Thor up before he went back in. So that was really beneficial to me. And if you have the ability to manipulate it, or you know who's going to be eaten, maybe you move some relics around, maybe you move some gear around and just say, okay, I know Thor is going to be eaten here. Let me make sure that he can survive and be a little bit more tanky. And maybe I won't bring so many buffs to make it so that I get a turn with him outside and he heals off of a leech proc like mine did. Just an idea, just an example. See, which is really, really handy. If you happen to have Skull Lord Vargal, I would recommend building him because his A1 brings that heal reduction and it cannot be resisted if you have at least 1 ally from the Lizardmen faction. So really, really handy heal reduction. And he also acts as a reviver for any Lizardmen that you might bring. So if you happen to have a Teox, he could be that reviver for Teox. But really, really good champion to bring for the Mimic because this each hit, and it's a multi-hitter, it just places it and it cannot be resisted. So really, really good. And you have a 30% chance to repeat the attack. So you ever seen those where it's like, it just keeps going and going and going? Yeah, they just got a bunch of procs on that repeat attack. So shout out to Skull Lord Vargal if you happen to have him sitting in a vault. It might be harder to build and take more time and books versus somebody like Venomage, but I will say that Vargal and his A1 do not need any additional books. So all you need is Vargal himself. And he also brings one of the best. In fact, I might even make a full dedicated video to Skull Lord because even, you know what? You guys got it right. I was expecting some people to think about old Vargal and give him bad reviews, but he is quite good in Raid Shadow Legends these days. So want to give him a really, really big shout out. Either way, we're going to call this a video. I just wanted to focus on the Mimic, make a quick one for you guys, because I do see people struggling and saying, hey, I don't know how to beat so-and-so on hard difficulty. Well, hopefully this has given you a few different ideas and ways to go about tackling that. Heal reduction is a big part of it. And just a reminder, you can sub out your champions in your deck. If you buy the squad reshuffle, it will let you swap one champion out. So if you realize, oh man, I forgot to bring my Venomage, you could swap somebody out and bring that Venomage. Either way, thanks for watching, guys. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. It is the best way to support my channel, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. Take care.